Hiya friends, Prepared Suburbanite here with some thoughts again for today. I spent a couple of hours yesterday watching the House Judiciary Committee's hearings on the omnibus gun control bill that I think they call the Safe Kids Act or something like that. Thank you to Jared at Guns and Gadgets for live streaming that whole thing pretty much all day long. It was quite eye-opening. I also watched the president's speech that he put on, where he had his impassioned plea for passing a whole bunch of draconian gun control measures that are designed to keep us safe and take away our liberties. I stumbled across an article this morning from A.W.R. Hawkins on Breitbart.com, and I urge you to go read it. I'll put the link in the description down below. But AWR makes some terrific points, and I'm going to go over the highlights of that right after the intro. So AWR Hawkins on Breitbart.com did a fact check. And here's the claim. During his Thursday night primetime speech, President Biden claimed that we should expand background checks and talked of how such checks would keep guns out of the wrong hands. His verdict, mostly false. The United States has had FBI background checks on retail gun sales since 1998. That's a long time. Have those checks kept some guns out of the wrong hands? Yes, certainly. However, Biden's speech was framed around mass shootings. He used examples of mass shootings to prelude to the speech. What are expanded background checks? When Biden and other Democrats push to expand background checks, they are pushing to require background checks for all retail to be expanded so as to include private sales as well, and to make this push while simultaneously claiming that such an expansion would keep guns out of the wrong hands and could give listeners the impression that mass shooters are getting their guns from private sales, only to avoid background checks. Breitbart has kept a running tally of high-profile mass shootings over the last 15 years, and every attacker but 3 got his guns via a background check. 2 of the 3 who avoided background checks, the Clackamas Town Center attacker in December of 2012 and the Sandy Hook attacker in December of 2012, stole their guns. So no amount of point-of-sale background checks would have stopped them. Only one individual, the Midland, Texas attacker in August of 2019, acquired his gun via private sales. And then he lists the list of attackers who complied with background checks, and it looks like this. Indianapolis in April of 2021, Atlanta, March of 2021, Parkland High School, February of 2018, the Texas church attacker in November of 2017, the LA attacker in October of 2017, the Alexandria attacker in June of 17, the Orlando attacker in June of 16, the UCLA gunman in June of 16, the San Bernardino attackers in December of 2015. The Colorado Springs attacker in October of 2015. The Umpqua Community College attacker in October of 2015. Colorado Springs, Ellison Parker's attacker, Lafayette Movie Theater, Chattanooga, Emmanuel AME Zion attacker in June of 15, the Muhammad Cartoon Contest attacker, the Las Vegas cop killers, the Santa Barbara attacker, the Fort Hood attacker, the Arapahoe High School attacker, the DC Navy Yard attacker, Aurora Movie Theater attacker, Gabby Gifford's attacker, the Fort Hood attacker in November of 2009, the Northern Illinois University attacker in February of 2008, and the Virginia Tech attacker in April of 2007. So, you know, it's a terrible list. I mean, it's truly infamy right there, what we're looking at with this list of mass shooters. But to make the leap that expanded background checks that would force private sales to have to go through an FFL in order to be a legal transfer is not going to solve any of these problems. There isn't really a single case in here that is worth mentioning that would have stopped any of this. Only one attacker back in 2019 got his gun via a private sale. Underneath all this with the expanded background checks, it all sounds great. What I think the general people, the general populace out there, the uninformed folks that wander around in a fog most of the time, they think that there is no background checks being done at all. That you can just go on the internet and order a gun and they'll ship it right to you, and no problem at all. But no, all that stuff has to go through an FFL so that they can do the required background checks pursuant to state law. But federalizing this is not going to solve any particular problem. I was very disappointed to find out that the House Judiciary Committee did approve the omnibus gun control bill. They did that last night on a vote. It will now, I think next week, move to the full House for a full House vote. And now's the time to get in touch with your representative in the House to let them know how you feel about this omnibus legislation and whether it's really going to solve any of the problems and whether it's really going to solve keeping our kids safe. This is the Prepared Suburbanite reminding you to be prepared always, and I'll see you all on the next video.